Hey everyone, today we're talking about books that broke me emotionally. I've got two from Steven Erikson from the Malazan series. I've got one from Robin Hobb, which is the final book in the Farseer Trilogy, and an oldie but a goodie in George R.R. Martin's Storm of Swords. So let's jump into it. The two Erikson ones, Deadhouse Gates is a incredibly long, slow march across the desert with one army trying to move with all of itself, right? Plus women and children and the elderly across a hostile continent to make it to safety. They're dogged at every turn that they possibly can, and they're really, I mean, the human suffering is explored in this book, but there's a massive betrayal, and the outcome of it is just, honestly, it is one of the first books that I felt like, this is hard to read. But no one writes emotionally abusive content quite like Erikson can, at least in my opinion, because you do get to spend so much time with these characters and you get to see them in their, in their highs and their lows, and you get to know them, and then all of a sudden sometimes the rug gets pulled out from under them, and it's unfair, but that's life, isn't it, right? Sometimes you can do all the things right and struggle and suffer, and you still don't get the thing you wanted in the end. And he teaches a poignant lesson with that one. The other one is kind of an honorable mention. This is Reaper's Gale. There's a character that all the Malazan fans will know who gets less than 1,000 words, I think, in the entire series. His name is Beak. And Erikson somehow, in 1,000 words or less, manages to wring more emotional punch than a lot of authors can get out of a 1,000-page novel. It's his own little self-contained story, and it's, in the end has to do with sacrifice. It's really just, you have to read it. If you love fantasy and you love being put through the ringer, you gotta read the Malazan Book of the Fall. And I know that first book can be a hurdle for some people, but I highly recommend you do it. Now, moving on, let's talk about the Farseer Trilogy. Everyone knows Robin Hobb's ability to explore characters deeply is kind of unparalleled. She's the queen of fantasy, in my opinion. This is a light spoiler for the Farseer Trilogy. Fitz falls in love. The outcome of that romance is contained in Assassin's Quest here on the table. And for me, it was tough. Again, it was one of those where as I'm reading it, I'm just like, you start to feel this hollow in your stomach because I can't imagine that being me. Like, I'm an immersive reader, and I'll make a video about that another time, right? But I try to really get there with the characters, and this one was really tough for me too. So the Farseer Trilogy is amazing. I think it's one of my favorite castle fantasies. It kind of expands out from there, but that universe is one that I'm excited to jump back into and explore later on with Rome of the Elderlings. And I know that she's really going to put me through it. So can't recommend the Farseer Trilogy enough. It's a good one. And then finally, the George R.R. Martin's The Storm of Swords. This is book 3 in the Game of Thrones, Song of Ice and Fire. And if you've seen the show or you've heard of the Red Wedding, that's the moment that made me put this book on the table. After all the things that the Starks have been through, and finally it's like they're able to kind of make a push and start to gain some momentum. They have, again, a massive betrayal from people that are supposed to be their allies. And it just really sets events for the next couple of books, and things don't get good for way longer. In fact, in the novels, they're still not good. It's been a while since I've read these, but Game of Thrones is one of the premier fantasy series that you can go and read. And even though it's not finished, I think you'd be doing yourself a disservice by not checking that out. So again, go check these out. Yeah, that's some of the ones that I could think of that were just like gut-wrenching moments in reading for me. Share some of yours in the comments, and please be aware of spoilers. If you have to, you can shoot me a DM. Anyway, thanks so much for the time. I'll catch you in the next one.